Mute you for a sec. Kia ora, and welcome to another How To Plus Q&A event. My name is Anna Mari Fanthorpe, and I'm your host. Today, I have Iyia here from iyialiu.com. Well, so many businesses. We'll get into that. We're going to be talking about the benefits of e-commerce and quick wins, but we're really going to get into her story and hear about what digital tools she uses and tips and tricks, and just how she's built such an empire from the young age of 1921? What was it? When did you get started? 21. Yeah, so you originally got started with that shapewear brand, which kind of took the world by storm with Waist Trainer, and then moved on to start a number of other businesses, including an organization that helps women in business, which I'm really excited about. I always love hearing things like that. Now, just as a little reminder for folks that are tuning in on our social media platforms, or if you're here with us on Zoom, make sure that you get your questions answered, or drop your feedback or comments in the chat function, the Q&A function, or the Q&A function, depending on what platform you're streaming from. So, hello, welcome to Digital Boost.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
Me too. I'm really excited. And I know a lot of folks that I know are like, oh, I know her. I follow her on Instagram, so I've got some people tuning in from here and there, ready to hear your story. And I thought we might start out with a little bit of that, just talking about what inspired you to get started. And I'm sure you've said this a million times, but maybe here on our little, in our world, we haven't heard it. So we'd love to hear about how you got started with your first brand. What inspired you?
Yeah, totally. I went to uni. I did a marketing degree, and I think in my second year of uni, I discovered this girl called Sophia Amoruso, and she is like the ultimate girl boss. She was the founder of Nasty Gal, which was a fast fashion company in the US. She was in her 20s, and she kind of started out the way that I did. She would buy and sell things on eBay, and she ended up scaling this business to one of the fastest growing companies in America. And I really resonated with her. So I thought, if she could do it, I think I can do it too.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I gave it a go. A lot of people don't know my very, very first business, which I launched straight out of uni. It was a fast fashion clothing one, because I was like, okay, I'm going to try to replicate this. And I ran that for about 5 months. I put all of my savings through, my life savings into that. And it actually didn't turn out very well. And then I ended up going on holiday overseas. I had some time to think, and I discovered the Waist Trainer, which is like a shapewear product. I got some samples. I set up a website, set up social, and this was a product, I guess it was much more niche, a lot less competition. And yeah, it really just went I wouldn't say viral, but they just sold so quickly.
Yeah, it was something like 100,000 units or something like that in your first year. I'm pulling stats. We don't have to know the stats, I guess. We know that it's a great product, and it has been seen worldwide. So you've got a number of other businesses as well. And so we might as well touch on those, I think, just so that people understand that you're in a number of different, although it's kind of, would you say predominantly e-commerce? It's, except for the foundation for girls in business, you've got your Luxe Fitness supplements brand, that probably, would you say that spawned kind of from the shapewear brand because you were in that market per se, I guess?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. We kind of thought, fitness and people that are interested in, I guess, weight loss, or interested in their maintaining their body. So we thought this was a collaborative brand that we could cross promote between them. And then after that, I did a gift box company called Celebration Box. And now I've got a hair care brand called Tidal Hair. So all of them are e-commerce based. It's pretty much all the same business model, same marketing methods, just different categories of products and I guess.
Yeah, it's nice to see how you've just kind of taken a model. You're like, this model works, and now I'm going to bring it over to this next product and replicate it. Or maybe, I'm sure things evolve as marketing evolves and tech evolves. All businesses have to evolve with it. I'd love to hear about, from going from something so small or something that you didn't realize was going to pop probably like it did. What were some of the challenges that you experienced over the years or in those first years? Probably both. We'd love to hear them in your journey.
I think one of the main challenges when you have an e-commerce brand is mainly, I guess, the supply chain. That's definitely very hard. And especially in most recent years, obviously with COVID and stuff, supply chains everywhere are just delayed. Like everything's delayed, which is super frustrating. Previously as well, we were air freighting everything. So now we're having to sea freight everything or a lot more things, not everything. So I guess for me, that's probably been the biggest challenge, like managing inventory, managing products, actually getting the products to be able to sell. And I think, I'm sure you've seen all the headlines, like all this, lots of the shops are out of stock of things. So it's something that everyone is facing at the moment. Another major challenge I would say is just the scaling in general. I think when you're going through periods from a startup to like rapid growth, it can be overwhelming, and you're trying to scale up everything and you forget about things. So you hire more staff and then you go, oh no, I need more computers, or the space is too small. Oh, we've got all these orders, now we've got nowhere to put all of our ingredients, we can't get the ingredients in time. And I've had, like, I went through a period where I got some bad media for Celebration Box, my gift boxing company. It was mainly due to the fact, like, we started off and then in the 6th week, we got this influx of 3,000 orders for Father's Day. We didn't have the space, we didn't have the staff, we couldn't get enough raw materials to fulfill those orders. So yeah, definitely scaling at pace can be very challenging and tiring.
And how do you, I think a lot of small business owners experience stress in general, whether they have a really large business or something that's small, or they're just getting started. How have you kind of managed your stress or some of those more challenging times in your business?
When I was just starting out, every little mistake and problem used to stress me out. Like, I would think about things all night, not get any sleep. And now, because I've just encountered so many problems, like every business owner will know this, you just encounter problem after problem after problem, no matter how many years you've been in business, it's always something. For me, I've learned to just go, okay, here's a problem, that's annoying, what's the solution, move on. And I've just had to do that, otherwise I would just have gone crazy. So that's how I deal with it.
They always say that, there's certain practices or certain disciplines that you can learn where you do something repeatedly over and over and over again. And in the beginning, you have good days and you have bad days, but in the end, they all just mold into days. It's just like, it's another day, there is no good and bad because there's so many of both. It's just practice, I guess, at that time. That's such great insight, because I think we do brood, as we call it, don't we? I think it's such a great word, brooding. So yeah, we do a lot of brooding about, I could have done that better. And a lot of small businesses take some of the negative criticism to heart, as I'm sure you probably did as well. It's hard not to do that if you're putting yourself out there on social media, and just putting yourself out there in the world, I guess. But let's talk about some of your successes. So obviously your journey is your success, but that can be monetary, and that can be just, I've got this many businesses, but that's not always what people define as success. So I'd love to hear what you feel have been some of your successes throughout your journey.
The things that I'm most proud of, I guess, is just my experiences. Like, I just think it's really important to experience things and enjoy the journey. Of course, it's cool to have successful businesses. Of course, it's cool to have like an awesome team. But I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity, for example, to do a TV show, to speak at conferences around the world, like really diversify and yeah, really enjoy the journey. I love my job every day, coming to work. So it's just, yeah, nothing to complain about.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a good thing to hear, because that's life, isn't it? I wonder how much of what you do and how much of where you started to where you are now involves collaboration with other, big ideas people, because obviously you're an ideas person. So, how much do you rely on a team of people to come up with ideas in the beginning, and then versus now? And, any thoughts around collaboration?
I 100% believe collaboration is incredibly important and you do need it. But I also do understand that when you're starting out, it's just you. Everything is you. You are the customer service person. You're everything. So it is important for yourself to have good ideas and know the general, I guess, direction that you want to head in. And as you grow, you need to I guess delegate. Like I'm sure you've all heard it a million times, but I've actually met a lot of business owners that are just themselves, and they don't want to delegate. They want all the control. And if you want to grow, it's just not physically possible for one person to do everything at scale. So working together within your own team, I mean, whether you contract to an agency, getting more heads involved is always a good thing.
And for those small businesses that, a lot of small businesses, and, in these times as well, financial outlay of having people get involved, that's a worry sometimes. Like, what would you say about, about outsourcing or about drawing people in, and those kind of concerns that people might have about that financial kind of aspect of that?
Obviously it is something to consider. There are, I guess, a couple of ways around it. You could do things like networking, going to networking events, and or just like organizing a dinner with other people and just chatting about it. Some of the large marketing business owner networks that I'm a part of, the main purpose is just to bring people together and have a discussion, bounce ideas, and you don't actually need to pay for that. You can just have a discussion with someone. Another good way is to maybe get an intern. And yeah, I would say, yeah, probably those two, networking and intern.
Yeah, cool. That's some great advice. Now, we here at Digital Boost are digital. So we like to talk about digital tools and things like that. And we'd love to hear about, maybe some of the things that you used to use back in the day that you've switched up. What were they? For example, you would have had a website. What kind of website providers you use, and just what social media platforms you use, and just talking about digital tools working with your team. Like, what's the framework digitally for your business?
When I started years ago, the very first website I got was like a custom one. And then in terms of managing it, I found it really difficult. So I ended up shifting to Shopify for our e-commerce websites. And if we've got an information website, we'll use Squarespace. And I feel like it's so awesome that those two website platforms exist, because it makes people, like the everyday person, it makes it super affordable, very easy to use on the back end. And I think those platforms are the reason e-commerce and people can really excel digitally, having that as a website base. In terms of social scheduling and social content creation, like we used to use Photoshop years ago, but it's pretty time consuming. It's you need a little bit of technical knowledge. So recently we've switched to Canva, which is, I believe, the top digital platform to create graphics and designs on. So for all of our clients that we work with, we make most of the graphic design stuff on Canva. It's affordable and super easy to use. In terms of social scheduling, we used to do it manually. So we would set an alarm every day, or just remember. I know.
It's so exhausting.
Oh, I know. It's so awesome that all these tools have come along. And now we use later.com, which is really awesome. So you can batch schedule. You can quickly make all your stuff on Canva, get all your content, put it on later.com, schedule for the next month. Yeah, it's just awesome for time management. Email marketing, we used to use MailChimp, and over time we've kind of shifted towards Klaviyo.
Mm-hmm.
We love the analytics, and I guess you can do a lot of automations and flows. So I think we're constantly just moving towards things that are giving us more automations and time savings, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as with your financial aspect, do you use something like MYOB or Zero, or something that, because Shopify and Squarespace integrate with a lot of kind of SaaS, I guess they call them sassy. They're not sassy, but they're SaaS. SaaS financial platforms. Do you use anything like that in your business, or you do most of it with an accounting firm?
So we do have Xero, which integrates with our bank accounts and transactions, and we also do have an accountant that does the filing. But I think if you want to reduce your accounting costs, like Xero or MYOB are very reasonably easy to use, and again automated with your bank accounts. So
yeah, they're really great because you can invoice through them. Your inventory can go through them. Most of them, it's quite convenient for the small business owner. And hey, accountants love it when you don't come full of a shoebox of receipts. Mm-hmm. They really don't appreciate that. Fantastic. Now, so we've talked about your website. We've talked about your social media. So we know how you're creating some of your social media and how you're scheduling it through Later. And I'm going to pop some links for all you folks that are tuning in on socials, because I know that's where we predominantly sit these days, and here on Zoom. What I'll do is I'll create a list of all the tools that we've talked about, and so that you guys can go and check them out for yourselves, because there's a lot of free options on these tools as well. So we've talked about that, but what social media platforms are you loving right now? Like, do you use, and are you loving, and why?
Social media platforms, it's super interesting because I've obviously been doing this for I think 7 years now. At the beginning, 7 years ago, it was so interesting that everything was Facebook. Mm-hmm. And now it's like Facebook is pushed aside for I guess maybe family and friends stuff, and now it's predominantly Instagram and TikTok and maybe some YouTube as well. For me, we like to use Instagram as a base. And now that Instagram also has the Reels feature to, I guess, combat TikTok. We do predominantly focus. The
battle between Instagram and TikTok. It's real.
It is real. Are you allowed to copy all those features? I don't know. So Instagram is the base, and then TikTok is super important as well. And I think increasingly important. Just from research that we've done, it seems like TikTok is pulling a lot of viewers from YouTube and pulling people from long form video to short form video. So it's interesting that seems to be the way things are going. With Instagram, predominantly for our brands, we focus on influencer marketing. Like we bang out influencers, like we do a lot of influencer marketing, and then to supplement that, we also do like Facebook ads, Google ads, but majority of that is on Instagram.
And Instagram, there is an app now. I heard about it. I got to remember what it was. It'll come to me in like 3 days. That's what happens with age, isn't it? It's like, you can't remember in the moment. 3 days later, you're like, so I guess there's an app you can use, because TikTok doesn't like the branding of like sharing through, or they don't like each other, obviously. So they don't like each other's branding coming through. And you can put some of your videos that you've created, say on TikTok, and you can take that branding off to put, if you're going the other way, to put it on Instagram. Somebody sent me through that app not long ago so that I knew about it. And so I'll find out what that is for you folks, and I'll let you know if you're doing TikTok to the gram. We're getting questions. I'm going to leave them till the end, because I feel like we'll get to them, and I've got to check the socials as well for those questions, but it's hard to have a conversation and do that at the same time. Okay. And TikTok is, it's integrating with Shopify now. So have you linked that to any of your Shopify accounts? Probably, obviously.
I'm actually not sure. Like we've integrated it into, we run TikTok ads. But in terms of integrating, I'll have to check that out after this.
Yeah, check it out. Hey, look, this is
Yeah.
what we do. Yeah, so TikTok last year, the tail end of last year, partnered up with Shopify because I think Shopify realized this is a huge thing, and you can already, put your pixels into for Facebook and all of that, Instagram into your website accounts, but they've managed to get TikTok in there, and so people are starting to use that as well, which is why we're going to do a session on TikTok this Friday, guys. Check it out. Little plug there. But okay, so we've talked about your social media, we've talked about your finance. Now, I'm sure you have, because of the scale of your business, you probably have a semi-large team now. How many people would you say are in your team roughly?
At the moment, we've got 16.
Yeah. Okay. This is amazing. This is great to hear, actually, because if you can do what you're doing with 16, a team of 16, and then you probably outsource. Is that right? Don't worry. Don't.
Yeah. So at the moment, it is the team of 16. We, in the past, have worked with marketing agencies, Google ad agencies. We outsource our graphic design, but I mean, we do what we can, but we also know that if we are not super skilled in something, or somebody might be able to do it better, we have no hesitation in working with other people.
Yeah, cool.
Really a good thing.
So with your 16 kind of structure, your core structure, what tools, are you a Google business, a Microsoft business? Like, what tools do you use to work with your team?
So recently, like this month, because of the outbreak and what's happening in Auckland, we have been working from home, which makes it hard to communicate. So in terms of communication, we've been using Slack, which I love. It's really great. It's like Messenger for businesses. And we all have Apple computers. I'm just used to Apple. I think this.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. If someone put me on a non-Apple, I would just be like, I don't know what to do. So yeah, that's how we work. We like to work on the big screen. It's just way easier. We're all about time efficiency, and really just being efficient and, getting the most out of our time. So we like to have the big screens up, maybe two, one thing here, one thing there. And just working real quickly.
Yeah.
That way.
Well, Slack's a great tool. We use it too. And that also sends notifications through when you're trying to do things. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to mute myself because I'm actually going to pull up the chats on the other channels, but the sound will turn on. So I'll leave you to answer that question, but I'm not leaving you.
Okay.
I'm still here. Okay. All right. So a question here from Mel saying, do you have any advice on obtaining funding? Mainstream banks will not talk to small business until they have at least 1 year in business. How to scale without this cash injection?
Okay, that is a good question. And I actually have been thinking about funding too, because I also the same boat, like the bank, even though I have this trading history with them for X amount of years, the current business that I was looking at getting funding for is newer. So they don't even want to look at it, actually. So I went down the route of crowdfunding, looking into crowdfunding. I know a couple of brands that have received crowdfunding before. And I saw Genora, the supplement brand. They recently raised $3 million via Snowball Effect, I think it was. And I know Designer Wardrobe, the rental company, they did a round via Icehouse funding. So this is, I guess, one way that you could go down. The only thing I would say is they also need information, like trading information, an information memorandum, like they want forecasts and things. So they will still want to know that your business is, going to work, basically, like that there's something's happening. So they're not just investing in an idea, I guess. If you don't have much trading history at all, I would say the only other way is bootstrapping. And bootstrapping is basically just using whatever amount you have, like whatever money that you have, and just reinvesting in your business. And it's totally doable. Like for Waist Trainer, I started with $5,000 after my very first business failed, which I put all my money in. So I had about $5,000 left, which I split into units of stock. I made sure I ordered things with low minimum order quantities, and other things like Shopify. Shopify's cheap. I just made it myself. All the graphic design, I was just doing everything. Like it's doable with a small budget. And influencer marketing is also really good if you have a small budget. We do a lot of product gifting. So the cost to you is the cost of the product, which is, not the RR, not the recommended retail price. So it's reasonably cost effective. And Celebration Box, I also started with $4,000, which we just bought like the basic things like just ingredients and packaging, did influencer marketing, and really just scaled up that way. And Celebration Box has just done over 100,000 orders since it's launched. So it's, bootstrapping. You can give it a go bootstrapping, and I think you can find ways to make it work. You're still muted.
Great advice. That was a classic Zoom blooper there.
Yeah.
So that was really great advice. Thank you. If that answers your question, then we're good. If you still need more information about, just please drop it in the chat. So another question here is, what is your experience with trademarking? Sorry. What's your experience with trademarking?
Trademarking, it is important to trademark. I have heard of people that have started a brand and then later found out or had a conflict with another brand that was already using that trademark. It's very easy to do a trademark search on Google. You just go on, is it the IPON's website, the Intellectual Property New Zealand website? You just type it in, and then if it's free or available, you can actually just register it for yourself. I think it costs it's a little bit under $200 for New Zealand. And if you want to do an international trademark, I think there's a website called WIPO, WIPO, and it's the same thing. You look up the trademark, and you can basically apply using that website. So I would do it. It costs a few $100s, but it can save you thousands of dollars down the line. So if you're very serious about your business, I would consider it. And I remember when I did lodge a trademark for Lux Fitness, I actually had a German pharmaceutical company write me a letter and say, hey, we're not happy with this. So it's good to, I guess, you hit those road bumps early versus getting all your product, all your branding, and then being like, oh my gosh, they're going to cause some trouble for me.
Yeah. Is that, I almost feel like that's like what just happened with Meta as well. Like they went ahead and there was actually another business called Meta, and they had to end up buying them out. It was really funny. Yeah. It was like a car business or something. It was not, that it happens to so many people. I've actually seen it happen to people I know as well. It is a real thing. And so it's great to do your due diligence is what I'm hearing you say. And also what I'm hearing you say is it's important to have a good structure from the beginning. So yeah, lovely. Question here coming in from Socials Throw from Dean says, from your experience, how long does it take you to develop an idea, to test it and start making good sales? People have a perception that e-com business, that money is instant, but in reality, things take time. Has this process gotten quicker 5 sites down? So a couple of questions there, I guess. So from your experience, how long does it take you to develop an idea and to test it and to start making good sales?
In terms of product development, it depends where you're going to get your products from. Like a lot of our manufacturers in China, they're super fast. They've already got the formulations, and you kind of just you can ask for customization, but you kind of just put your branding on it. And that is one of the quickest ways, I guess, to bring a product to market. If you were going through a manufacturer, like we're getting some things manufactured in New Zealand, they're taking up to a year from the time we put in the idea to do sampling and all those things. So I guess you just got to think like, where am I going to get it made? And do they already have it formulated? Have they already tested it? Do they already have the compliance paperwork? Have they done the safety testing? So I guess, in terms of product management or product development. Those are a couple of options. And then I guess when you're formulating your brand as a whole, you can launch everything, but I think like there's this marketing rule, that the marketing rule of 7, like people need to see your brand at least 7 times before they even remember it or like consider your brand. So the marketing aspect, like you've really got to get in front of your consumers again and again and again and again, and as well on different channels. So on omni-channel marketing, like Facebook, Instagram, you want to do a trade show or, sampling at the gym or something, just hitting people over and over at different platforms and different touch points. That can take a long time. Like I think with Title Hair, my most recent e-com business, it took us about 6 months to even get like recognized. And now like at that time we were doing some influencer marketing, some ads, Facebook ads. And now every month, like we're doing like 200 plus influencers, and really scaled up our marketing. So it is one of those things that it takes time. And I know businesses that have been, I guess the people have not been working in them full time, but they've been going for a couple of years, and people are only just starting to get recognition now.
I guess it really depends on the market, eh? It depends on the market and on, what's happening in the world, what people are looking for, trends, and, and all of that, and how saturated the market is. Hey, because, absolutely. That's great advice once again. So then the last question in here says, has this process gotten quicker 5 sites down? So like, would you say that, you've kind of honed in what you're doing, or it's always a new experience?
No, it hasn't gotten quicker. The main things are, I guess, technology is always changing, social media is always changing. Back then, some of the strategies that we were using that worked really well, they've changed. Too many people are jumping on board and doing those things, so you have to, I guess, adapt and go, okay, what am I going to try and do that not so many people are doing in terms of marketing? And especially now, like TikTok's kind of new and people are saying go to TikTok, so we're having to learn that as quickly as everyone else is. So no, it doesn't get faster because strategies have to change.
Absolutely. Those platforms change. They're ever changing, just on here trying to present content that's relevant. The stuff that we did 6 months ago is now starting to become obsolete. We're constantly having to update our content just to stay on top of the game as well. I totally get that. And I'm a novice at TikTok. We're all just going, what are we doing? Are we dancing? Are we, I'm not sure what I'm doing on TikTok, but sometimes I go on there. But I thank you so much. I think you are a total boss, babe. So yeah, we were really grateful that you would take the time to speak with so many small businesses here in Aotearoa, and we're really grateful for your insights, because you're obviously super savvy at this stuff. It must run in your blood. You could do it underwater. So thank you for taking some time out this morning to speak with us and answer some of our folks' questions. And we hope you have a great day. And
awesome,
prosperous future.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been awesome being here. So thank you guys.
Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow, and ka kite.